Welcome to Phil and Dave's Excellent Adventures. Just Dave here. Today I'm talking about the movie The Marvels. This is going to be a spoiler review, so if you have not seen the movie yet, you are concerned about spoilers, I would suggest you go and watch the movie first before you watch this review. The Marvels is a sequel to Captain Marvel. It also involves Ms. Marvel from the Disney Plus TV show and Monica Rambeau from the WandaVision show. In it, they all find that their powers have become intertangled, and when they use them, they will switch places. So, as far as what I liked about the movie, overall, the cast was great. I really like Brie Larson as Captain Marvel. I've heard some people criticize her for, I don't know, not being emotive enough or something, but to me, the character is very much like a Ron Swanson or like a Raymond Holt type character, like a very serious, kind of hard ass. And I think she plays it really well. And there's even some subtlety and nuance to her performance that I like as well. But I think she's great, and I really like her interactions with Iman Vellani's Ms. Marvel, Kamala. She's great. Yeah. And the two of them, the dynamic between the two where, Captain Marvel, Carol, is very serious and very stern. And Kamala is very kind of silly and effervescent and over the top. That's really fun. I really enjoyed it. I also like Teyonah Parris as Monica Rambeau, Zawe Ashton as Darben, the villain. I think she was good. Zenobia Shroff, Mohan Kapur, and Saagar Shaikh. Sure. As Kamala's family, I like them as well. And Samuel L. Jackson, of course, in here as Nick Fury. He's great. I think it's the Secret Invasion show. Some people had some issues with. I thought it was okay, but also, yeah, it was nice for me to see a return to form of Samuel L. Jackson. I think he's really funny in this and really great. I really like his character. I like the music. They used the song Intergalactic in this, which great song, Beastie Boys. Maybe a little on the nose, maybe a little overused, but it actually makes a lot of sense because there's three of them. One of the opening lyrics is "Don't you tell me to smile," which kind of references the first Captain Marvel movie. Some guys were like saying, "Oh, why isn't she smiling?" Which is like something women have had to deal with for years. Men always saying, "Oh, you'd be prettier if you smile more." So I like that. I think it worked. I also like the Double Bubble Trouble by MIA, although I think she was anti-vax or something. And the Ratatata by Skrillex and Missy Elliott. I didn't think I liked Skrillex, but that song was okay. I'm sure if I listened to it more, if I heard it the second time, maybe I wouldn't like it very much. But in the context of the movie, for the 30 seconds or so they played of it, I liked it. I thought it fit. I like the score by Laura Cartman. She also did Ms. Marvel, What If, Lovecraft Country, and Why We Hate. She won a bunch of Emmys for Why We Hate, I think. Cinematography by Sean Bobbitt. He did Hunger, 12 Years a Slave, and Windows. He works with Steve McQueen a lot. And the animated sequence. Early on, they show Kamala's it's hard because Kamala Harris and Kamala, but anyway, Kamala's notebook, and they do this little animated sequence with her and Captain Marvel. Thought that was great. I really liked it. I really liked the animation style. I really liked the humor in it overall. I thought it was really funny. There's a part where they're switching bodies and they're trying to save Kamala before she hits the ground, and then she switches to Carol and she hits the ground, and Fury goes, "Oh, it's Carol." Hilarious. There's also a part where her brother starts praying, and he's like, "Are you praying?" And he stops. He goes, "Don't stop. We need all the help we can get." Really good stuff there. I like the 1, 2, 3, go thing. And she's like, "You said on three." Well, yeah, all that. Her brother, when he's like, "I don't want to be an only child again." Kamala points out that why is this a top secret notepad, but it's clear. Everyone can see through it. That was really funny. Kamala's family in general, I thought they were great. Kamala's family. I love them on the show. I love them in this. They're really funny. It reminded me a little of the Blue Beetle kind of family dynamic, although her show came before that movie did. I like the song and dance planet, Aladra. Aladna. I thought it was great. I thought it was really funny and weird and goofy. I love the way it looked when they first come in and like the design of the buildings and stuff. I'm like, oh my God, set design is amazing. And then I realized, oh, that's CGI, of course, but it looked good. And the buildings looked like treble clefs and like musical notes and stuff like that. That's awesome. And they come in and Kamala just immediately starts dancing and like getting into it and stuff because like that's her character. But like, Monica does a little bit and then, Carol is just straightforward. And they're like, "Why aren't you dancing?" And she's like, "This is me dancing." But then we get to see her dancing with the guy, the prince or king or whoever she had to marry and stuff. And they do their little dance sequence and she does a song. And she's a great singer. I really like the song she did for Scott Pilgrim. So I was excited to see that. Thought that was great. I like the scene where Kamala hugs. It's going to happen every time. Where she hugs Monica and then kind of brings Carol into the hug too. I thought that was really sweet. The whole situation with them learning their powers and doing like the jump rope thing and messing around, that was really fun. I like seeing the Supreme Intelligence like from the comics basically with like the big green head and all that. That was cool. The scene with the Flurkins eating people, that was really fun. That was really weird and creepy, the way that people are screaming and running away and they're like, "Just let the Flurkins eat you, it's okay." Like that stuff was really good. I like the new costumes. Granted, I understand the new costumes are mostly done for, marketing purposes so they can sell toys or whatever. Although maybe not so much with this, but yeah, I really like Carol's new costume. Is it the one on the poster? I don't remember. I can't tell. I don't think it is. But either way, I liked all of their new costumes, but in particular, Carol's new costume I thought was great. I also like the fight scenes. There's some really cool fight scenes. They do some really interesting stuff with the switching the powers and stuff, where like all of a sudden, Carol will switch to one of them and come crashing in and, hit the guy or whatever, or the girl. Great, really, really good. Some really cool, fun, inventive fight scenes, well choreographed. You can tell what's going on, all of that. I'm sure it took a lot of work to do with the switching and everything, but it worked out. I like seeing Binary, Monica's mom, in there. I like that there's basically a happy ending. I always like a happy ending. And I liked that it was different from the first one. A lot of sequels just kind of do the same thing, but all over again. This was a different story, completely different. I enjoyed that. And I did like Kamala does her little Avengers kind of thing, where she's kind of paralleling what Nick Fury did in the first Iron Man movie when she meets up with Kate Bishop. And then the mid-credit scene, we get to see Beast, which I did not expect, and that's pretty cool. So, hey, all right, what universe is it? I don't know. We'll find out later. As far as what I didn't like about it, there is some CGI that's not great, and in particular the Flurkins. There's anytime anyone's holding a cat, I'm like, that's not a cat, that's CGI. And of course it has to be, but they could have used more real cats, and apparently they did, but for me, anytime I saw the cat, it looked fake. Some of the ships also looked a little fake to me. The movie is a little predictable. There's some stuff, as soon as they said something, I could tell what was going to happen. Like as soon as they said, oh, the sun died, I'm like, we need a lot of power. Oh, so Carol's going to fix the sun. Okay. Oh, someone's got to go through on the other side. Okay. So Monica's going to stay on the other side. Like, yeah. Okay, fine. The scene with the Flurkins where they're eating people was fun, but they did memories for too long, and they did the Barbara Streisand version. I never want to hear Barbara Streisand ever. And yeah, they did not need to play it for nearly that long, only because she's a terrible human being. But yeah, they didn't need to play it for as long as they did. I didn't really get the stuff, or I didn't really like the stuff with like trying to figure out a superhero name for Monica Rambeau, just because I feel like I've seen that before in other movies. I didn't really get or like the fact that they had her kind of mad at Carol for not coming back, because it just seemed a little like silly, or like she should have understood why she didn't come back. She's a grown adult. She's also a superhero. She's also worked for the government. I didn't really understand why she all of a sudden was like, well, I'm mad you never came back. Oh, okay, get over it. You're like 30. What are you doing? I didn't like Rambeau's first costume at all either. I liked her second costume, but the first one was just black and white. It's kind of plain. There's not much going on there. But I like the character. I like the actress. I think she did a good job, and I actually really sympathized with her character a lot, because she's been through a lot. Her mother died while she was blipped, and she, now is stuck in some other universe, some other dimension, and all of that. Like that's, yeah, I like the character, but just felt a little like, I don't know. They didn't quite know what to do with her sometimes. It is a little weird that when they switch costume, or when they switch bodies, that their costumes, stay with them, but then like Kamala goes into the spacesuit. And it's like, well, okay, why didn't the spacesuit go with Monica once he switched? And I understand why. And of course, I'm not saying they should get naked every time they switch, because that would be ridiculous. But yeah, just some stuff like that where I'm like, okay, wait, what's going on here? And in general, I guess I didn't really understand the rules of switching the powers, because they have a thing where they're trying, and it turns out seems like they can do it intentionally when they want to, but then sometimes it looks like it happens unintentionally when they don't want it to. And I guess I didn't really understand what the rules were, because then there's parts where like Carol's like, don't use your powers and stay here, and then Carol flies off and uses her powers, and I'm like, well, why can you use your powers but not her? And is there certain powers you use that make you switch and certain powers that don't? Like, is flying a power, or how does flight work for your, just a lot of that kind of stuff where I'm like, okay, I don't quite understand. I just wish they would have maybe just explained it, or just said like, yep, it happens randomly. We can't control it. Sometimes it's the third time, sometimes it's the fifth time, sometimes it's the first time. What are you going to do? Like something like that. And maybe they did and I missed it, but that's it. I was a little confused. It seemed like at the end, when Monica went through to the other dimension or whatever, and the what do they call them? The stupid bracelets, the gravity, whatever they're called. And then it looked like Kamala used a hand to bring Carol back in and the bracelets in. I don't understand how she did that without the bracelets, because I thought that's why she can do it. Can she do that without the bracelets? I guess maybe I saw Ms. Marvel, but it was a while back. I didn't really like that, or I think if they wanted to do some more stuff, the villain could have been a little better. I mean, I like the actress. I think she did a good portrayal. Apparently she's Tom Hiddleston's wife or girlfriend or something. I don't think it had anything to do with her being cast, but yeah, I think maybe if the villain were like a character from the first Captain Marvel movie, that would have just kind of made me identify with the actor more, or the villain more, or maybe if it was an actor I was more familiar with. Just again, not that she did a bad job, I didn't know her, I didn't recognize her. If they would have say brought Annette Bening back from the first one, or I assume Minerva died. Was that her name? Yeah, but I don't know. I feel like they could have done something else there, some other way of a connection there. And I guess I'm not really sure that I wanted the Kree to get a happy ending. I mean, I guess it's not their fault, but they did like steal another planet's atmosphere and then another planet's water. And I mean, I guess, and they shouldn't have had the, like, Carol probably should have shut down the artificial intelligence, right? So I don't know. I don't really think Monica needed to stay on the other side. I understand why they did it for story reasons, but like, why couldn't you just come back through and hold it through? I mean, I don't know, whatever. There's a little bit of a backstory overload too, because I've seen all of it. I've seen every Marvel thing that they put out so far, but to get all the references in this movie, you would have had to have seen the latest Thor movie, the Hawkeye TV show, Ms. Marvel, WandaVision, and the first Captain Marvel movie, among other things. So it's a bit much. I think it's a bit much to ask of the audience to be that well informed. And I think the ending was maybe a little anticlimactic. It's like, well, Carol, you got to go and fly over and restart the star. Oh, okay, I'll just do that now. There we go. That was easy. I don't know. Could have been something. They did, though, mention, because I was a little concerned at some point that, like, oh, they killed all those people on the dancing, singing planet or whatever. But there is a line of dialogue where one of the people who work on the space station said, like, oh, it's going to recover. It's going to be okay. Yeah. So other than that, the movie was directed by Nia DaCosta. She did the Candyman remake from a couple years ago and a movie called Little Woods. It was written by Nia DaCosta, who wrote both of those movies, as well as Megan McDonnell and Elissa Karasik. Megan McDonnell wrote WandaVision. I think it was her only writing credit. And Elissa Karasik wrote on Loki, We Crashed, and Lessons in Chemistry. So yeah, all women on the writing in this. And I didn't notice. I assumed it was maybe Rick and Morty writers, because there's some kind of silly, goofy, other planet kind of stuff you see in Rick and Morty. And I know they've been doing a lot of the stuff lately, Matt Shackman, Michael Waldron, and those guys. But no, as far as I know, they had nothing to do with that. I did notice at some point throughout the movie, there are no white men with speaking roles in the entire movie. There's some white dudes in the background, and there is Gary Lewis, is I believe a Scottish guy. He's a white guy who plays the Kree Emperor or whatever he was, but he's green. And Kelsey Grammer shows up at the end, but he's also blue, and he's not even there. It's a CGI construct. But yeah, there's basically no white men in this. And I think Carol might only be the only white person in this, which is fine. I actually liked that. I didn't even really notice it until I was like, oh wait, that's weird. And I, as a white man, have no trouble connecting to this at all. I thought it was good. It was fine. I actually enjoyed that. Get white guys out of here. We don't need them. Get rid of all these white guys. People have mentioned they kind of ripped off Spaceballs a little bit, because the plot in Spaceballs is that Darth Helmet is trying to steal the atmosphere of planet Juridia, I believe. And so it is a little funny, but hey, whatever. I like Spaceballs. I'm not going to critique anyone from that. There's also kind of I feel like Guardians 3 had a very similar ending, with like the heroes out in space and then someone else had to save them. It's just like, okay, so that's cool. Like I said, there was some stuff that reminded me of Blue Beetle a little bit, with just like the family stuff and all of that. And like I said, Ms. Marvel came first, but I enjoyed that. I thought it was fun. And it's stuff that reminded me a little bit of The Flash, specifically in Justice League. Just the way Kamala is so excited and she's like a superhero nerd and she's like, yeah, I get to meet my like idols and stuff. They kind of try to do a similar thing with Barry in Justice League, but it works a lot better because Iman Vellani is much more fun and delightful and not a terrible human being like Ezra Miller. I did like also there's it's like an hour and 45 minutes, so it's pretty short. It's over before you know it. I think it's the shortest Marvel film of all. But it does seem like maybe they cut some stuff out that maybe they should have left in a little more character development. I'm not sure. I did appreciate there's some kind of like Muslim stuff in there with the praying, and like she says Bismillah at the end, like to kind of bless them or whatever. And in general, I don't like religion. I think Islam is a stupid religion, but I think all religions are stupid. And yeah, whenever there's like Christianity thrown in a movie for it pisses me off. But this didn't really bother me because it was kind of minor, and it wasn't like we have to pray to Allah to save us kind of stuff. It was just like a cultural stuff that, whatever. I did also like there's some kind of parallels to like the Middle East conflict and just wars in general. The way that in the comics in general, at least the Skrulls were always kind of the bad guys and the aggressors, and the Kree were kind of the good guys. I'm sure they've switched it back and forth throughout the years, but when I was a kid, at least that's the way it was. And now they've kind of done the opposite in the MCU, where the Kree are the bad guys and the Skrulls are the good guys. But some of the Skrulls are not good guys. Some of them are, kind of terrorists, and some of the Kree are not bad guys. They're just human beings trying to live their lives that are kind of stuck in this situation that they had nothing to do with. So I appreciated that. They kind of gave it a little more nuance than, it was cool to see Beast. Again, I don't know, are they in the Fox Marvel universe now, or is it a different universe? Is it one of the one from Multiverse of Madness? Is it, the one from Days of Future Past? I don't know. And was Carol wearing a quantum band at the end? I don't. Did she take one of them? Also, why'd she steal their house? No, it's fine. But yeah. So on this one, Rotten Tomatoes, critics are at 62% last time I checked, and audience at 84, which makes sense for me. I feel like most of the audience does like it, and most people who want to see this movie, wanted to see it. It delivered what it promised. But yeah, I can see why critics would have some issues with it, particularly some of the plot holes and some of the other issues, kind of pacing and storytelling issues. Budget on this $275 million. So I mean, it's got to make like 500 or 600 million just to break even, essentially. It's made 110 million worldwide, 47 million domestic opening. It's the lowest in franchise history. I think Incredible Hulk opened at 50 million or so, a little over 50 million. Initially, they were 55. Initially, they were predicting this to make like 75 to 80 million, and then they dropped it down to like 60 million, and then they dropped it down to like 50 million. So yeah, that's where we're at. And there's some issues with that. The writer's strike just ended, but they couldn't really do any rewriting until the end there. The actor strike is still going on, so none of the actors can go out and promote this at all. And then COVID, of course, added a lot of just money and issues and hassle and problems to everything. So yeah, and I think just a lot of overload too. The fact that people probably didn't maybe care so much about these characters. Not everyone watched Ms. Marvel. Some people have been upset with Brie Larson for various reasons. I'm not. I think she's great, but she did say some stuff like, "I don't care what 40-year-old white men think about my movie." Well, okay, she's probably not watching this. I am a 40-year-old white man, but I thought she was great. I enjoyed it. I actually really liked the movie. I thought it was really fun. I think there's some plot holes and some issues and maybe some kind of tonal issues, but for the most part, it was really fun. It was funny. It was just delightful to watch Kamala interact with Carol, and I enjoyed the movie overall. I thought it was really great, so I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. But if you saw the movie, let me know what you thought. Put it down in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you have a great night, and I will see you here again next week.